I opened the letter thinking it was a bank statement, but it was a wedding invoice for $47,923. The venue, same resort we honeymooned at. The groom's name, my ex-husband, and the payment, charged to the mortgage I still pay for. He used my house to marry another woman. But what they didn't know, I was about to walk into that wedding in a red dress with a secret that would change everything. It started like any Thursday, laundry spinning, cartoons humming, and my 7-year-old daughter, Tessa, dancing barefoot across the kitchen tile with orange juice on her chin. I was scraping together leftovers for lunch when I saw the envelope. Red. Thicker than a bill. Maybe a coupon. I opened it with one hand, half expecting junk mail. Inside was a wedding invoice. Gold foil, embossed lettering, and a total balance of $47,923, fully paid. The venue? Fairview Vineyard Estate. The groom? Ethan Caldwell. The payment account? My mortgage. My knees buckled. I dropped the envelope like it burned. Because Ethan Caldwell wasn't just anybody, he was my ex-husband. The same man who vanished 2 years ago claiming he needed space. The same man who hadn't sent a birthday card to his daughter since the divorce. And now he was getting married, using my house. At first I thought it had to be a mistake, some kind of mix-up. But when I pulled up the bank app, my stomach turned cold. Ethan had accessed a second mortgage account we'd opened during the marriage to fix a leak in the roof. One I never closed because I couldn't afford the legal fees to untangle it. He had used it like a personal credit line, and he'd drained it. Wedding dresses, catering, wine barrels, horse-drawn carriage. I saw the charges listed in real time. The anger hit me like a train. Tessa peeked around the corner, rubbing her eyes. "Mommy, what's wrong?" "Nothing, baby," I said through my teeth. "Just spilled something." That night, I didn't sleep. I dug up every document I had. Mortgage contracts, bank statements, old emails. Ethan had signed over the house to me in the divorce. But because I hadn't closed the joint credit line tied to the second mortgage, he had used it. Legally? He hadn't even broken a law. Not yet. The next morning, I drove straight to the vineyard, Fairview Estate, pretended to be a curious bride. The girl at the desk, bubbly and innocent, gave me a tour and mentioned how the groom had booked the entire place as a romantic surprise. "His bride doesn't even know yet," she said with a grin. "He wants to make her cry happy tears." I smiled politely, but my heart was already set. If Ethan wanted a wedding, I'd give him a reception he'd never forget. 3 days before the wedding, I filed paperwork. My attorney, a no-nonsense woman named Carla, moved fast. We launched a fraud investigation, freezing the account Ethan had used to fund the event. But the hearing wouldn't come until the following week. So the wedding? Still happening. For now. But that was fine. I didn't want to stop it. I wanted to walk in. I bought a red dress. Silk. Sharp. The kind of red you only wear when you're either in love or at war. I got my hair done, wore heels high enough to make Ethan sweat, and applied lipstick with the steady hand of a woman with nothing left to lose. I wasn't there to be polite. I wasn't there to scream. I was there to burn down the illusion. Jamie, my friend and a private investigator, handed me a thick binder that morning. Inside, proof of Ethan's withdrawals, records of communication with the bank, screenshots of the payments he made, every page screaming fraud. I arrived at the estate just as the sun dipped low. Guests milled about, sipping wine under string lights. Someone strummed an acoustic guitar. I stepped into the courtyard and time stopped. Ethan turned. He saw me. His face drained white. He was wearing a white tuxedo with a golden pocket square, probably custom, probably bought with my money. The bride, Amanda, stood beside him, radiant and unsuspecting. I walked up like I belonged there. Amanda blinked, confused. "Hi," I said to her. "You must be Amanda." "Yes." she said, unsure. Do I know you? Not yet, I said. But I'm the reason this wedding might be over. Gasps. Heads turned. Ethan tried to rush me. What the hell are you doing here? Don't touch me, Ethan. I held up the binder. This is proof that you stole from me. You used a credit line tied to my home, my mortgage, to pay for this wedding. That makes it fraud. And this... I held up the final page. Is the receipt with my name on it. Amanda's mouth dropped. What is she talking about? She asked Ethan. He froze, tried to grab the binder. Don't lie again, I said, voice sharp. Because she deserves the truth, too. Amanda snatched the binder, flipping through the evidence. She read the charges. The fake address Ethan used, the secondary account he pulled from. Her hands trembled. You paid for this? She whispered. Not by choice. Then she looked at Ethan, eyes wild. You told me you owned a second home. He stammered. I do. We had joint ownership. I've been paying it off alone for 2 years. I cut in. You haven't sent child support. But you paid $47,000 for this fairy tale. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Then she said, You told me your wife was dead. Everything froze. Dead? She turned to the crowd, voice cracking. He said he was a widower, said his wife died in a crash, said the baby didn't survive. I felt something inside me break. I'm alive, as I said. And so is our daughter. She's 7, and she's beautiful. And she thinks her daddy just got busy. Ethan looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. Amanda took off her ring, tossed it at his chest. Then she looked at me and said, I hope you take him for everything. And walked out. The DJ cut the music. The wine kept flowing. The silence was deafening, but I wasn't done. I walked up to the mic near the ceremony arch, picked it up, looked out at the stunned guests, Ethan sweating bullets behind me. Since everyone's here, I said calmly, let's make this educational. I explained, piece by piece, how Ethan manipulated the legal gray areas of shared financial records, how women like me are left with the fallout, how he vanished, left our daughter behind, and used a technicality to pay for a new life. No one clapped, no one interrupted. They just listened. By the time I was done, the staff were already pulling aside chairs. The wedding planner came up to me and whispered, Do you want to keep the venue? I laughed. I'll take a bottle of wine, that's all. 3 days later, I was in court. The judge ruled in my favor. Ethan was found liable for financial misconduct and forced to pay damages. The house became fully mine. The fraudulent loan was reversed, Amanda testified. She'd recorded a conversation, proof of his deceit. Tessa and I started fresh. We painted the living room, got a secondhand piano. We grew sunflowers. And on one ordinary Tuesday, she looked up at me and said, You're like a superhero, Mommy. Maybe I was. Not because I was strong every second, but because I never stopped standing. Even when the world tried to bury me, I came back and read.